Hi, this is John Lineval from John Lineval Tutoring, and this is Word Roots Part 1. Here's my contact information, and let's get started. What we're covering here. We're covering root words, including but not limited to common prefixes and suffixes that come from Latin and Greek. We're also going to cover words referring to different things such as time, place, good, bad, taste, and more. There will be more videos in this series, I promise. If you like this video, please don't forget to give this a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and click on the little bell in the top right corner for notifications. So here are a few examples. Bio means life. So you see it in words such as biography, the writing, a graph of a life. So somebody's story of their life. Biology, logi, L-O-G-Y. Ology is the study of life. Logi is study, or logi. I don't know why I said logi. Anyway, it's biology is the study of life. Bene means good. So a benefit is a good thing that you get. You can get job benefits like health coverage and things like that. Benign, okay, something that's harmless is benign. Auto means self. So some example words, autobiography, okay, that's the story of your own life, so when you write your own life story. Automatic, when something just happens by itself or without anyone making it happen. Audi, that means hear, so audible is something that you can hear, bull means can be done. Audience, the people who are hearing you do something. Geo means earth, so example words, geography and geology. Geography would be mapping the earth, showing what's going on the earth. Geology is the study of rocks and things like that that make up the earth. Gen means to give birth, so a gene is something that gives rise to your body characteristics. Generation, well, your generation is all the people born in a certain time period, so that's when the human race generates itself, or any other species generates itself, recreates itself. Dict, D-I-C-T. So say, so a dictionary shows you how to say or write words. Dictate would be to say something, as if you're dictating a letter, someone else is writing down a letter as you are saying the words. Chrono means time, so chronological, in time order. Synchronize, to set things to the same time, like synchronize your watches, something like that. You might do that before an auto race, or when it's important that everybody act at exactly the proper time, and so that everyone has to be on the same timeline. Self, others, good, bad. Auto, again. There was a text adventure called Zork back in the day that goes back to at least the 1970s on mainframes, and it was adapted for PCs in the 1980s. If you would tell the nice Zork game something like eat me, it would say auto-cannibalism is not the answer. An automobile, of course, is a vehicle that can move without something pushing or pulling it because it has an engine that makes it go, like this nice Camaro here. Auto means self, of course. Bio means life. An autobiography is a person's life story told by that person. Bene is good. A benefit is a good thing, as we saw before. Benevolent means good, nice, kind. Vol means will, and we'll see that again, like volunteer, when you do something of your own free will, or voluntary. So benevolent, would be benevolent, good, nice, kind, good-willed. Malevolent is evil. Mal means bad, so malevolent means evil with bad intent. You can see also malicious. So here we go. Vol means will. Benevolent, showing goodwill, a desire to do good things. The police union in most cities is called the PBA, the Police Benevolent Association. Volunteer is someone who does something purely out of his or her own free will. So when someone does work and doesn't get paid for it, it's volunteer work. Volition is free will. And malevolent, again, means bad will. So I see a lot of organizations that call themselves a benevolent association, like the PBA, or some social clubs are the whatever benevolent association. So it'd be interesting to see a malevolent association. Yes, we're evil and we're letting you know. Okay. So, loving and willful words. Stop dressing up your narcissism with benevolence. I heard that on a podcast, and I just thought that was a really interesting thing to say. So when somebody is really just showing how much they love themselves, or pretending, oh, it's because I'm such a wonderful person and I'm helping everybody. Narcissism is excessive self-love, or also known as being pompous when you are excessively self-important. An example I use a lot when I'm tutoring is, well, if I stayed here after tutoring and said, well, it's dinner time and I'm hungry, please make me dinner. And they might say, well, John, we paid you money, you can go get your own dinner. But I'm hungry and I'm really important. You should be honored to feed me. That would be being really pompous and narcissistic. Intentionally, acting voluntarily, doing something on purpose and not being forced to do it. Intent. So that's, when you act voluntarily. Deliberately means almost the same thing as intentionally, but there is a difference. To deliberate is to think things through. So in many legal contexts, there actually is a distinction. Intentionally is if I take a split second and decide I'm going to punch someone in the face. So I might be convicted of assault based on that. Deliberately would be, I sat there for a day, I planned out, okay, I'm going to stand outside this guy's work, and as soon as he comes outside his job, I'm going to punch him in the face. That would be deliberately. So legally, that might make a big difference in the degree of whatever crime, assault, etc. that you're convicted of, if you can show that, no, not only did you do it intentionally, you actually did it deliberately, and that you had time to think about it, and you still decided to do it. Esteem. All right, we've all heard of self-esteem. Everybody talks about that. That's self-respect. Esteem in general is respect. Many letters, when you write them in Spanish, the salutation rather than dear might be, or querido would be estimada, estimado, respected person. Time, place, and motion words. Ante, A-N-T-E, not A-N-T-I, means before. So an antechamber is a small room before a big one. It might be a place where a judge puts on his cloak before he goes and sits behind the bench in the courtroom. Might be where a king puts on his king robe and goes and sits in his royal chambers. The antebellum South is the South before the Civil War. Bellum means war. Itinerant means traveling or wandering. The itinerary would be the plan or log of the trip, like your plane schedule if you buy a plane ticket. Pre means before. Prefix is a part of a word before the main word. So all of these first syllables of the words that I've been reading off to you. Post means after, if you have postgraduate studies, so those would be studies after you've gotten a degree. There are even postdoctoral students who are often called postdocs at universities, who are researchers who work at the university after getting their PhD. Semper is always. You can think of Spanish, a Romance language based on Latin. Siempre means always. So Semper Fidelis is the Marine Corps motto. It means always faithful. That's why I have the Marine Corps logo in the background on this slide. Under and over. Sub means under. So to subvert something is to turn from below. So if you're trying to undermine somebody's rules or something like that, in the book Animal Farm, they talk about the animals overthrow the farmer and take over the farm. And so at first they say, oh, well, nobody can sleep on the bed. We can't do the bad things the humans did. And then the pig who takes over, Napoleon, says, well, you can sleep on a bed, you just can't sleep on sheets. See, the sheets were the problem. So you're subverting the original purpose of it, was that, okay, nobody gets to live in the house and take over what the humans did, and until finally the pig does and says, okay, well, I'm going to take over the house and do as the humans did, but in spirit I'm not, because I'm omitting this one trivial detail of sheets on the bed. Super means over and above, either literally or figuratively. So, we have things like this, where, you're either going above something or beyond. If you're superhuman, you're better than a human being. If it's a superscript, it's something that's written above. More time, place, and motion words. Ubi. Ubi means place. So ubiquitous literally means something is everywhere. Water is ubiquitous on this planet. It's practically everywhere. McDonald's is ubiquitous in most Western countries. It's hard to find somewhere where you can't go to McDonald's. Subscribe would be to literally underwrite. So if you subscribe to a magazine, you're writing them and saying, please send me this magazine every month. If you subscribe to a petition, you're signing your name. Yes, I support this petition. And on the old TV show Frasier, there was a joke that I couldn't find a good clip of, where the two kids, well, two grown men now who were kids at their father's cabin, Frasier Crane and Niles Crane, go to their father's house or cabin out in the woods, and they find where they scratched into the concrete, Semper ubi sub ubi, always wear underwear. That's not literally what it means. You know, it would mean literally always, then wear, like location, then sub under, and then location, but always wear underwear. Ha ha ha. Then si non oscilas nolle tintinare. I'm sure those of you who are Latin scholars are screaming at the butchery of the Latin language I just did. But anyway, it means if you don't swing, don't ring. Oscillate means to move back and forth. So you can think like a sine wave or a pendulum that swings back and forth. Yes, I know, geeky. Think of the sine wave before an obvious thing like a pendulum. Anyway, vert. Vert means turn, controversial, so as we said in subvert. So controversial is to turn against. To controvert the evidence would be to turn against it. Avert would be to turn away from, as in avert your eyes, things like that. Together and apart. All right, here we have Rush Limbaugh, a controversial radio entertainer and talk show host. Coll means to bring together, so collate, when you staple together a packet of papers, you're literally bringing papers together. Collect, obviously you're putting things together. Colleague would be a partner who's together with you, or a college is where colleagues learn things. And contro means against, controversial means against popular opinion. Contradict means to speak against, say the opposite of something that someone else did. For example, we can see that in this clip from Monty Python's Argument Clinic sketch.
One thing quite clear. I most definitely told you.
You did not.
Yes, I did.
You did not.
Yes, I did.
Didn't.
Yes, I did.
Didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, this isn't an argument.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. It's just contradiction.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
It is not.
It is. You just contradicted me.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you did.
No.
You did just then.
No, nonsense.
Oh, look.
Can be.
No, it can't. An argument is a connected series of statements to establish a definite proposition.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is. It isn't just contradiction.
Counter means against. A counter-revolution. Counter-revolution is a war to undo a revolution. The people who were rebelled against want to overthrow the revolution and reinstate the old regime. Countermand is to contradict an order given by another officer in the military. So when you contradict someone else's order, you have countermanded it. Ligar means to join. So a ligament, something that joins your bones together. Or that's a tendon, I don't know. Ligaments, is that the muscle? The one that joins muscle to bone? I don't know. Anyway, either holds muscle to bone or bone to bone. Or religion. Religion literally means binding something together again. So religion is something that's supposed to hold your life together. It ties together a lot of other aspects of life, such as philosophy and psychology and all things that we need to know to get through the life. So that's why many religions have existed throughout the ages, is to join everything together. Thinking words. Cogn, like think, like recognition, literally to rethink or remind. If I recognize you, I'm like, oh, that reminds me of you. Oh, okay, I can rethink that. Cognitive is relating to thinking or the mind. Cognitive psychology relates to thinking. Cognitive behavioral therapy, from what I understand, they're basically asking the person, why don't you think that through before you do that? Cognition is thought. Cogito ergo sum, I think therefore I am. And that was René Descartes' famous statement. René Descartes is also the person who invented Cartesian coordinates. His Latin name was Cartesius. And his famous statement was cogito ergo sum, which was parodied by Monty Python in this sketch. René Descartes was a drunken fart.
And René Descartes was a drunken fart, I drink therefore I am.
Pensive means thinking. Pensar is Spanish, think, so comes from the Latin. Many eating and drinking words. Dips, D-I-P-S, means drinking. Dipsomaniac means alcoholic. And dipsomania is alcoholism. So here we have somebody who's probably a dipsomaniac, really chugging right out of that wine bottle, or whatever bottle that is. Polydipsia is excessive drinking of water, possibly because of untreated diabetes. Poly means many. A polymer is a plastic or other compound linked by monomers, being linked to each other by the process of polymerization, so they add a catalyst or a radical that makes a monomer, makes ethene into polyethene. And consume means literally to eat. Modern usage is to use any product. Consumer protection laws, it protects the user of a product. Imbibe means to drink. Think like beber in Spanish. And so in Latin, if you wanted to say, I drink, therefore I am, you would say bibulo ergo sum. Thanks to my friend Kevin, who pointed out the mistake when I had reposted that as bebido ergo sum, which I had gotten from a t-shirt I saw when I was in college. Ha ha ha. Sweet, tasty words. Here we have Gustavo Fring from the Chicken Brothers, Los Pollos Hermanos, from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. So SACH, S-A-C-C-H, sweet, sugar. A polysaccharide is a bunch of sugars joined together to make a starch, so a starch is a polysaccharide. Saccharin is an artificial sweetener, common until the late 1970s, early 1980s, because it caused cancer in some rats.
The Food and Drug Administration was considering banning saccharin from the market. I nearly died. They say you gave rats cancer, but I say that can't be true. Because you are so very sweet, that's something you've never done. Goodbye, saccharin.
George Carlin noted, well, we live in a weird society when cigarettes are legal that kill thousands and thousands of people, but we ban an artificial sweetener because a rat died. Anyway, saccharine is excessively sweet or sentimental. So you could say something like, the smarmy talk show host greeted his guests with a saccharine smile while wishing he was anywhere but the show's set. Gust means taste, so gusto means great pleasure and enthusiasm. Gustatory would be relating to eating and drinking taste. Disgust is repulsive and bad taste. It would be literally the opposite of taste or an anti-taste, like dis means not and taste. Gustatory means literally referring to taste, as I just said, and Gustavo Fring brought us Los Pollos Hermanos. All right, so he must have good taste. He has gusto. And action and medical words. Defenestration means jumping or being pushed or thrown out a window. A fenestra is a window. Here's a building in San Francisco I've passed by many times where they have things stuck to the walls. It was a condemned building. I think they've torn it down, but I just remember passing by it a lot, and I found this picture when I looked up defenestration, so I thought that was awesome. Avulsion means to pluck from, tear away, such as an earlobe being torn off. A laceration is a deep cut. Maceration is when skin is in contact with moisture for too long. Macerated skin looks lighter in color and wrinkly. It may feel soft, wet, or soggy to the touch. Skin maceration is often associated with improper wound care. Mastication is chewing. So it sounds like a naughty word, but it's not. It's just chewing. Remember reading that in Mad Magazine, some political speech. My opponent's mother encouraged him to masticate excessively at the dinner table. You're thinking, oh my God, that's disgusting, until you realize, oh, he means she insisted that he chew a lot. Ha ha ha. Gutsy words. Viscera are your internal organs, also known as your guts. Eviscerate is to tear out internal organs. So X, E, or ek mean to remove. So to eviscerate would literally be to tear someone's guts out. Visceral means relating to the viscera, the internal organs. So a visceral feeling is a gut feeling. And as the old football coach said, I want you men to show some intestinal fortitude out there. Literally means strong guts. So that was his jokey way of saying show some guts out there. More gutsy and bodily words. Prehensile or prehensile means capable of grasping, as in a hand, a foot, or a tail. Precipitous means steeply dropping off. And here's the Latin version of that. It means an abrupt descent. Precipitation is, of course, rain, snow, etc. that falls from the sky.
Cabinet meeting at the White House to deal with the nation's fuel shortage brought on by the coldest winter in memory. This is Gary Shepard reporting on the CBS Radio Network.
So here's an example of the blizzard of 1977. Here are some pictures of what Buffalo, New York looked like in early 1977 when it was bombarded with several feet of snow. I lived through this. I remember being able to go out my parents' bedroom window on the second floor onto the awning over our porch and jump into snowbanks that were several feet deep in the backyard. Some of my friends literally had snowbanks that covered over their front door. They had to go out the back door or something to get out of their house. I'm not even sure. I was about 6 years old when this happened, and I do remember wondering, well, geez, I can get to my little friends' houses. How come Dad can't come home from work? Because it snowed while he was at work, so I had to stay at work for about a day. Anyway, that's an example of extreme precipitation. Hope this is helpful to you. Pneumon means a lung breathing filled with air. Pneumonia is a disease characterized by fluid in the lungs, not to be confused with ammonia, which is NH3. It's a gas. You can absorb it into water. It makes a nice cleaning fluid. And pneumatic means full of air, such as a pneumatic tire. Most tires in cars, bikes, etc. are pneumatic or operated by air, such as a pneumatic drill. So here we go. Fighting words. Fighting words include a pug. Pug means fighting. Here's a pug dog. A repugnant is something repulsive that fights you away with its unattractiveness. A pugilist is a prize fighter or a boxer. And someone who's pugnacious is someone who is inclined to get into fights. Insulting and complaining words. Disparage. It means literally to marry someone of unequal rank. Today it means to insult someone, regard someone as unworthy. Perhaps it came from, aha, you married a peasant, something like that. So that'd probably be how nobility would make fun of each other. Disgruntled. Dis is used not so much as an opposite, but as an intensifier. And gruntle means literally to issue little grunts. So I know some comedian wrote about that when people talk about disgruntled postal workers. He says, well, if you're happy, are you gruntled? Because dis would mean not. So now we know dis was used as an intensifier, not as a not. And here's a statement from Publius Cornelius Tacitus. When men are full of envy, they disparage everything, whether it be good or bad. We all know people like that, someone who puts down everything just because they don't feel very good about themselves. Did you find this video useful? Well, then please like it and subscribe to this channel. Neither action costs you anything. You'll be alerted about my new videos. Why do I care? It's simple. YouTube doesn't let me share any ad revenue unless I have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours. That's 240,000 minutes of view time in a year. While many people are watching these, I don't have 4,000 hours of watch time. I also don't have anywhere near 1,000 subscribers. For the same reasons, you are not only welcome, but encouraged to share links to this video, put it in playlists, etc. I'd appreciate your input. I'm always happy to read and respond to constructive criticism or suggestions for new videos. I reserve the right to delete comments from and block those who specialize in destructive criticism, trolls, or things that are off topic, spammers and disturbed people. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.